We must understand who is the Lord and who is the servant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our creator, and when we submit to Islam, we cannot put conditions upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, na'uzubillah, that Allah, I will only submit if you listen to these demands of mine, otherwise I'm not going to be worshipping you. Otherwise I will not be following your commandments. Oftentimes today people say that I am a non-practicing Muslim. And if you analyze this term, non-practicing Muslim, it is a very conflicting term. Because when you say non-practicing, obviously it means somebody who is not doing something. And when you say Muslim, it means a person who is surrendering. So how can you be not surrendering and surrendering at the same time? So this is in complete contradiction, both of these terms, that I am a non-practicing Muslim. So you cannot be in fact a non-submitting slave or a non-submitting submitter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've got to be a submitting submitter, and that's what a Muslim truly is. Now the question that we must think about is that in this day and age now, how did we get there? How did we get to where we are? Where we are not acknowledging the Creator and we are not willing to submit completely and wholeheartedly to the Creator of the heavens and the earth. What is our problem? What is stopping us? And if you analyze it, there are two things which are holding us back. There are two things which are making us 50% Muslims, or 80% Muslims, or 99% Muslims. And there is still something holding us back from jumping straight into this deen and submitting ourselves wholeheartedly. The first thing is that secularism is disengaging us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nowadays the norm among societies is secularism. Religion is religion, politics is politics, government is government, keep that aside, keep this aside. So this secularistic viewpoint is keeping us away from submitting ourselves to the Creator of the heavens and the earth. On top of that, the dunya, this worldly life, is attracting us to the ghayr Allah. Everything that is not associated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So on one side, we are being pulled away from our deen, and the other side, we are being pushed into this dunya. So it's working in two ways, and this is what is stopping most of us from surrendering ourselves to the one and only Creator of the heavens and the earth. If you take the first one, secularism, we see that we are living by and large in a godless society. We have removed God from the equation. We don't need God. When we refuse to pray, when we refuse to do the obligations upon us, we are telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indirectly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I do not need this. I do not need this in my life. I can function completely well without these things. Without praying 5 times a day, I am absolutely, completely functional. I do not need to fast 30 days a month. I do not need to do X, Y, and Z, and I am happy with all of these things. So I do not need your guidance, I don't need your guidelines, I am happy as I am. So our society is becoming godless. The other thing is, we are told that do not bring religion into everything. Keep it away from it. Keep religions locked up in your house, if you will, keep it something personal. Keep it in the masjid, don't bring it outside the masjid. Don't let this religion govern your lifestyle. Don't let it run the government or state affairs or anything like that. And obviously, do not be wearing religion on your sleeve. Do not be walking around looking like a Muslim. If you do, we'll put a ban on you. This is what the world is telling us. Keep your religion in your house. Whatever you want to do it in your house. Don't bring it to school. Don't bring it to the university. Keep it at home. So this is this kind of society that we have to compete with. Our politics is democracy. Our economy is capitalism. And our society is secular. This is our lifestyle that we are faced with. And the Western secular writers are celebrating this. They are loving this time. They are writing books on the subject. There's one book called The End of History and the Last Man, written by Francis Fukuyama, who is celebrating that the history has finished, this barbarian cultures have been finished, and now we are enlightened. And now we are intelligent, and all those people, they were probably idiots, They did not know what they were doing, and now we are intelligent, and now we can do things, and now we are the best of nations. Na'udhu billah. Another book that's out is called A Secular Age by Charles Taylor, which again blows the same trumpet. That this is the age of secularism enjoyed to the max. For the first time, mankind has reached a level of intelligence never before reached. And what we realize is that we are currently suffering through one of the greatest spiritual declines mankind has ever seen. It is one of the greatest spiritual declines. A person asked one of the sheikhs that why are Muslims in such a mess in terms of development and progress? And the sheikh replied that because Muslims have gone away from their deen, and the West is successful because they have gone away from their deen. So they are coming towards us, and we are going away from our own deen. This is the unfortunate problem that we are facing nowadays. The second point that I mentioned was that the dunya is constantly enticing us and asking us to dive and submit to this dunya and realize that this is it. This is all you've got. Live your life to the full, enjoy, celebrate, so on and so forth. These are all the slogans that are given to us and displayed to us in our TV screens, in the newspapers and magazines. Enjoy life. The dunya keeps on attracting us to certain items which are contrary to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us in the Holy Quran. It is attracting us to women, beauty, looking good yourself, and this goes, by the way, for the men and women. Men too are now easily going to beauty parlors and spending hours and hours getting themselves made up. They call themselves metrosexuals. That they are men, but they like to keep up a good appearance. And Islam does not forbid us to clean ourselves and all of that, but this is very excessive behavior, borderline feminine. We are enticed by high-end luxurious items, be it watches or cars or clothes or whatever it is, handbags, shoes, all of these things, high-end stuff. Serving your own selves and becoming selfish. What do I need? What do I want? And whenever you have a problem, they have a cure. It's called retail therapy. If you're feeling depressed or down, or you need to feel good about yourself, go out to the shopping mall and shop till you drop. And that will cure your disease. And another marketing term that they use often in these ad campaigns is indulge. Indulge your senses, indulge your desires, indulge your temptations. Go ahead, give it a go. This is how the dunya is now attracting us. So it is in fact an attack from both sides. One side is telling us there is no God, you don't need God, forget about God, all the history is in the past, let's leave that aside. And the other one is now attracting us to the glitz and glamour of this world. And here we are, caught in the middle. And our youth has it worst of all. Because they are now faced with things which we never even saw. And for them, the dunya has been made really beautiful. And this in fact is a great test for them as well. And we begin to get used to this hollow way of life, because there is nothing much that we do against it. We don't even try to get ourselves out of this hollow lifestyle, and we submit to it and we get into it, and then we don't realize what or where we are going with our life. Now, in terms of submitting to the Creator of the heavens and the earth, the first and foremost problem that we have now, apart from the fact that we are taught secularism and we are taught the love for the dunya, the basic core problem that we have in our own society is that we have a knee-jerk reaction, a reflex reaction to reject the laws of Allah as soon as we are presented with those laws. Somebody tells you, do not have alcohol. Why? Why not? Give me proof, give me evidences. Somebody tells you, put on the hijab. Why? Who said so? It doesn't say so. So the immediate knee-jerk reaction is no. Why not? Why? I don't want to do this. Or for example, interest or riba. We tell a brother, look, you are, banking and using interest and all of this is haram. He says, no, where does it say so? Show me the evidences. And it's no problem showing the evidences, but the reaction of that person is something which is disturbing. Our reactions are disturbing, not the question itself. You can ask for proof and evidences by all means. And it is the job of a person who is calling to Islam to give the evidences. But this reaction of ours, this attacking reaction, is the troubling bit.